Two SAS cadets were held captive in Iraq, and while no one knew about it, they were shown on Iraqi television and how they were held in Basra. The SAS soldiers could not abandon them. What would that say for their credibility as a defense team? We all know what happens to these people held captive, but was the rescue mission successful? What happened? Watch till the end to find out. In 2005, soldiers from the British Tier 1 SAS unit were left in disbelief as they watched their comrades' plight unfold on Iraqi television screens. The footage showed two of their elite warriors badly battered and tied to chairs, their faces exposed for the world to see. Accused of killing a policeman, the two soldiers were to face an Iraqi court, and their fate seemed uncertain and grim. However, for the SAS unit, there was no question. They would not abandon their brothers to the mercy of the enemy, no matter what challenges lay ahead. A daring plan to liberate the hostages was meticulously crafted, but as events unfolded, it became apparent that the British government's concern for the lives of their soldiers had waned. The entire rescue mission now teetered precariously on the edge of uncertainty. What ensued was a tense struggle between the courageous SAS soldiers, fiercely fighting to save their comrades, and a seemingly oblivious political leadership, disconnected from the dire realities on the ground. Regrettably, the mission took an unexpected and unfortunate turn. On September 19, 2005, the mission began with operators Campbell and Griffiths embarking on an undercover operation in the Iraqi city of Basra. Disguised in civilian attire and operating from an inconspicuous vehicle, their objective was to closely monitor a corrupt police chief with known ties to terrorist organizations. This mission held extraordinary significance as it involved a formal collaboration between the renowned British intelligence service, MI6, and the SAS soldiers. After successfully obtaining crucial intelligence, the SAS operatives were preparing to exit the city when an unexpected hurdle presented itself. An Iraqi checkpoint blocked their path. Merely days before, British soldiers had apprehended another police mastermind, causing a palpable tension in the atmosphere between the two parties. With the situation already delicate, the seasoned and highly trained SAS soldiers attempted to de-escalate the confrontation through dialogue, hoping to defuse any further escalation. However, their efforts were met with resistance as the Iraqi police officers vehemently refused to calm down and alarmingly even attempted to forcibly extract them from their vehicle. The encounter quickly escalated, pushing the mission further into uncertainty. Faced with an imminent threat to their lives, the operators could no longer tolerate the danger. In a desperate bid to escape, they resorted to opening fire, injuring two of their pursuers and accelerating away, sparking a frenzied chase that tore through half the city. As the adrenaline-fueled pursuit unfolded, the soldiers came to the realization that their modestly equipped undercover vehicle could never outmatch the relentless pursuers. Recognizing the futility of further resistance, they decided to attempt diplomacy once again. They laid down their weapons and emerged from their vehicle, hoping to find a peaceful resolution to the escalating crisis. Tragically, their hopes were shattered as the Iraqi forces responded with brutality, subjecting the soldiers to a vicious beating before dragging them to a prison in Basra. To compound the dire situation, images of the captive soldiers were forwarded to a news agency, further escalating the tense and precarious circumstances of the rescue mission. As the soldiers from the 22nd SAS Regiment in Baghdad witnessed the distressing footage of their captured comrades, a swift and decisive response was set in motion. They immediately mobilized and prepared for an imminent hostage rescue operation in Basra. Meanwhile, Campbell and Griffiths, drawing upon their exceptional training, exhibited remarkable resilience in the face of captivity. Skillfully navigating the precarious situation, they divulged only enough information to keep themselves alive while safeguarding critical secrets. Their training had prepared them for such high-pressure scenarios, enabling them to maintain composure and strategic thinking amidst adversity. However, the anticipated rescue mission did not unfold as expected. When their fellow SAS soldiers stormed into the scene, ready to neutralize the hostage takers and secure their liberation, a fierce and unexpected firefight erupted. The captured SAS soldiers found themselves embroiled in a life-and-death struggle, while their comrades fought valiantly to free them. The outcome hung in the balance, and the mission had taken an ominous turn, fraught with uncertainty and peril. Amidst the intensity of the situation, the commander struggled to reach the necessary authorities to obtain authorization for the crucial rescue mission. Astonishingly, the orders were to stand down, a decision driven by a desire to avoid any potential escalation that could lead to political complications. Tragically, it seemed that the lives of two British soldiers were overshadowed by these bureaucratic concerns. The SAS soldiers could only watch helplessly from a distance as events unfolded, fearing the worst for their captured comrades. With one single chance, luck favored the highly trained SAS soldiers in their mission to save their comrades. Seizing the opportunity amidst the chaos outside the prison gates, the corrupt policemen handed Campbell and Griffiths over to Iraqi militia. Cunningly disguised in dish dashes, the elite soldiers blended in with civilians, outwitting the surveillance drones. The British Sea King helicopter, vigilant overhead, spotted the hostage handover. Swiftly tailoring their plan, the SAS coordinated with a helicopter to track the hostages' movements. The tanks breached the prison walls, securing the release of the captured British officers, while the SAS soldiers fiercely stormed the militia's hideout, rescuing their comrades without encountering resistance. The daring and coordinated effort marked a triumphant hostage rescue mission for the highly skilled special forces. A stroke of luck presented the highly trained SAS soldiers with a single chance to save their comrades. Amidst the escalating chaos outside the prison gates, the corrupt policemen decided to hand Campbell and Griffiths over to Iraqi militia, seeking to evade the intense situation. Aware of the overhead drones, the SAS soldiers donned dish dashes, blending seamlessly with civilians from the air. The British Sea King helicopter monitoring the scene spotted the crucial hostage handover, prompting the SAS to act swiftly. With the helicopter relaying the hostages' movements, the special forces meticulously tailored their rescue plan. The militia placed Campbell and Griffiths in a nearby hideout, setting the stage for the British soldiers to execute their daring hostage rescue operation. The tanks at the police station breached the prison walls, providing cover for the infantrymen to liberate the captured British officers successfully. The exhilaration of the moment was palpable, with one tank driver later expressing that it was the best day of his life. In parallel, the SAS soldiers hastened towards the militia safe house, which, faced with the fearless warriors, fled, abandoning their hostages. The operators swiftly penetrated the hideout, liberating their comrades without encountering any resistance. The successful mission showcased the exceptional skill and determination of the SAS, securing the freedom of their fellow soldiers. Amidst the immense relief and joy on both sides, the incident was far from over from a political standpoint. It was revealed the SAS had acted independently, disregarding the original order to attack only the forces outside the prison. Their decision stemmed from the desire to safeguard the lives of their comrades, and some reports indicated that the hostages were on the verge of execution, making the SAS intervention essential in saving their fellow soldiers from certain death. After the dust settled, the British leadership eventually approved the hostage rescue, but many SAS soldiers suspected it was only because the mission succeeded. They felt that any complications could have left them vulnerable to public scrutiny and military courts. Nevertheless, during the raid, these elite warriors paid no attention to potential career endings or legal repercussions, as nothing could deter them from rescuing their brothers, a bond that remains incomprehensible to others.